you this, brother.
What?
You know, I will tell you this. You raise your voice, I raise your voice.
If I raise my voice, you'll erase my...
Exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Are you serious? You said if I raise my voice, you'll erase my voice?
Imagine you're walking down the street, and suddenly, you see something that just doesn't feel right. Federal officers are taking someone into custody, and the official story that comes out later describes this person as a violent threat. But what if you had your phone out? What if you recorded the whole thing, and the video told a completely different story? This isn't a hypothetical situation. It's the reality for people like Alex Preti in Minneapolis and many others across the country. Today we're diving deep into the unsettling gap between what we're told and what we can see with our own eyes. We're going to examine several high-profile cases where the official narrative from federal authorities was one of imminent danger and justified force. They painted pictures of violent individuals, threats to public safety, and officers left with no other choice. But then, the videos emerged. Grainy cell phone footage, crystal clear security camera recordings, and bodycam clips released after public pressure. And time again, these videos show something else entirely. They show people who appear calm, people who are complying, or people who are simply exercising their right to protest. Let's start with the case of Alex Preti in Minneapolis. The initial federal reports described him as a dangerous agitator, a key figure in violent unrest. The story was that his arrest was a necessary action to protect the community. It's a narrative designed to be clean, simple, and reassuring. But independent journalists and human rights organizations got their hands on video footage of the incident. And what did it show? It showed a man who, according to witnesses and the visual evidence, was not the violent threat he was made out to be. The footage raises serious questions. Was the official narrative a mistake, a misinterpretation, or was it a deliberate attempt to control the story? This isn't an isolated incident. We see this pattern repeating itself. In Portland, during the intense protests of 2020, federal officials released statements detailing attacks on federal property and officers by what they termed a violent mob. They used these descriptions to justify the deployment of federal agents and the use of crowd control munitions. But when you look at the hours upon hours of video footage captured by citizens, journalists, and legal observers, a more complex picture appears. Yes, there were acts of property damage, but the videos also show peaceful protesters, including mothers and veterans, being subjected to tear gas and impact munitions, seemingly without provocation. The official story focused solely on one aspect, while the video evidence revealed a broader, more troubling context of the federal response. So why does this discrepancy matter so much? It matters because it erodes the very foundation of trust between the public and the institutions meant to serve and protect them. When the official account of an event is directly contradicted by verifiable video evidence, it creates a crisis of credibility. We're forced to ask, who is telling the truth? And why would an official statement differ so drastically from what we can see? One argument is that video never tells the full story. And that's a fair point. A short clip can be taken out of context. It might not show the events leading up to the incident, or what happened just out of frame. Law enforcement officials often emphasize this, stating that their actions were based on information and threats that the camera didn't capture. They argue that they have to make split-second decisions in high-stress situations, and a video reviewed later in the comfort of an office doesn't reflect that reality. However, the counter-argument supported by human rights groups is that while a video might not be the entire story, it is a crucial piece of objective evidence. It's a raw, unfiltered record of what happened in that moment. And when multiple videos from different angles all tell a similar story, one that conflicts with the official narrative, it becomes much harder to dismiss. It suggests a pattern, not just an isolated out-of-context clip. In the case of Alex Preti, for example, multiple sources and videos corroborated a version of events that stood in stark contrast to the federal description. This brings us to the issue of transparency and accountability. In an age where almost everyone has a camera in their pocket, the old model of relying solely on official press releases is no longer viable. The public expects to see the evidence. This has led to a major push for policies like the mandatory use of body-worn cameras and the timely release of footage after an incident. The idea is that if officers know they are being recorded, they may be more likely to de-escalate situations and use force only when absolutely necessary. And if an incident does occur, the footage provides a basis for an impartial investigation. But even with body cameras, the battle for truth isn't over. There are ongoing debates about who controls the footage, when it gets released, and whether it's been edited or redacted. Sometimes, footage that would clear up a situation is withheld for months or even years, pending an investigation. This delay can allow an official narrative, even if it's misleading, to become entrenched in the public mind. By the time the video is finally released, public attention may have moved on, and the opportunity for immediate accountability is lost. Let's consider the psychological impact of these conflicting narratives. When you see a video of what appears to be an injustice, and then you hear an official statement that completely denies or reframes that reality, it can be incredibly disorienting. It can make you feel powerless and cynical. It fuels the perception that the system is rigged, that there is one set of rules for those in power and another for everyone else. This erosion of trust is dangerous for a functioning democracy. It discourages civic engagement and can lead to further unrest when people feel that the official channels for justice are closed to them. So what is the path forward? First, there needs to be a fundamental shift in the approach to transparency. Federal and local agencies should move towards policies of radical transparency, where footage and information are released as quickly and completely as possible, with redactions only for legitimate privacy concerns, not to protect a narrative. This would help rebuild public trust by showing a commitment to the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Second, the role of independent media and citizen journalists has never been more critical. They are the ones on the ground, capturing the footage that challenges official accounts. Supporting and protecting these individuals is essential for holding power accountable. When mainstream outlets amplify these independent videos and investigate the discrepancies, it forces a public conversation that can lead to real change. Third, we need robust and independent oversight mechanisms. Internal investigations are often seen as insufficient, as they can create a conflict of interest. Civilian review boards with the power to conduct their own investigations and recommend disciplinary action can provide a much-needed layer of accountability. When the people investigating an incident are not from the same agency, it increases the likelihood of an impartial outcome. The cases of Alex Preti and others are not just stories about individual arrests. They are case studies in a larger struggle over truth, narrative, and power in the 21st century. The camera has become a powerful tool for justice, giving a voice to those who might otherwise be silenced. It allows us to bear witness and to demand that the actions of our public servants align with our shared values of justice and human rights. The contradiction between official statements and video evidence is a flashing red light, warning us that we must be vigilant, we must question, and we must demand to see the whole picture. Because without truth, there can be no trust. And without trust, there can be no justice. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive today. It's a complex topic, and there are no easy answers. I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think is the best way to ensure transparency and accountability? Don't forget to like this video if you found it valuable, and subscribe for more content that challenges the narratives and seeks the truth. Stay curious and stay informed.